All right, hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy and I am filming this back to back with part one of this little video Dollar Tree haul. As if you watch the first video, you know it's not just Dollar Tree and there's talking. Just pretend like we're sitting at the kitchen table together, sharing our lives. That's kind of how these videos go, so I hope that you'll consider sticking around. All right, so what kind of stuff did I not show in my first video? Well, since it's Dollar Tree, let's show a few more things from Dollar Tree. I've been trying to kind of hunt down the new viral crafty supplies, and I found a few. So one of them is this craft pack, and the Dollar Trees around me are still at the $125, but they are preparing for the $150 price increase. So some of the products are getting red dots put on top to know that, and I guess those are the things that are going to be going up to $1.50. But this is a paper pack, so a really good price. It would have to be like really terrible paper for it not to be a good deal at $125 or even $150. There's 24 sheets. It's 6x6 paper. And let's just see what we get in here. It looks like you get 12 different, so 2 of 12 different designs. So this one's more of your water, so this was just the cover, right? This is more of your watercolor paper. It's white on the back and it is a white core paper, but it's got really vibrant, it's a thick paper. But it does not say, it doesn't have the GSM on here, but it's comparable to Michael's kind of paper. This is not really my style. And I showed you guys on my last video that I've got paper scraps, but I might make envelopes out of these. Because there's so many things you can do, so many like one-page wonder things that you can find on YouTube and Pinterest to do with this size paper. But yeah, this is a great deal for $1.25. I mean, you really can't beat that price. So it's really just if you don't like the design. And they already, before this, they already before this had craft paper packs, which were kind of more scrappy. Okay. This is proving to be a little bit more difficult for me to get back in because it wants to bend and I need to bend it back so it doesn't get the tape on the page. So yeah, I might make envelopes or tags. Actually, this would be good for tags and labels and that kind of stuff. So there was that one. And then I also picked up just a generic 3-pack pad of paper because this is a really similar size to the Reader's Digest books that I'm going to be using to make journals. And it's just nice to have some extra paper that people can write on in there. I did find, I don't think I've told you guys this yet, but Alzheimer's runs in my family, so maybe I have, but I found a creator on Instagram, Ricky Tikki Tavi, and she lives in Iowa, and she makes these Reader's Digest cinch bound journals like I want to, but she doesn't make them as well. Okay, they can be used as journals, but she makes them more as supply books, almost like paper pads that just happen to be cinch bound. So she doesn't necessarily have to worry about having pages in there that you can write on because she's assuming that somebody will have it next to them while they're doing their own journaling and will tear out pages to use as as, well, whatever you want to use it for. So she calls them her bricolage books. And so look her up, Ricky Tikki Tavi. I think there's an underscore underneath after each word. But yeah, and she's got an Etsy shop where she sells these. But yeah, it was like almost like a light went off when I saw hers. So I was like, well, shoot, if I can't get my act together to make journals, I could make, it's like having a ring-bound ephemera pack. So that was kind of a cool idea to me. So I might play with that too, because then you're not having, like, I see myself more as a curator than a crafter, and that kind of lines up better with a curator mindset. So anyway, I don't know what I'll end up doing with that, but I'm hoping some version of that will drop on my Labor Day sale that I'm going to be having. All right, more Dollar Tree. I think they may have had these for a while, but I hadn't picked them up before. And you can see this one's marked to go up to $1.50, but it's just these alphabet beads. And again, these would be cute if you, well, like for me as someone who sells things, it would be really cute for me to make like a freebie thank you gift to put with the packets of things people buy, where I could put their name together. But I don't have any of the string yet, or I have string somewhere that I would need to string them on, but I don't know where it's at the moment. I should have looked to see. They probably had string there. I mean, I know they have twine, but they probably also now have jewelry elastic. So I should look. Anyway, yeah, so you get a buttload of beads. And then more napkins. I get these to do decoupage on paper. This one, I think this one I'm probably gonna just cut out the flamingo because I'm not too interested in the words. But this would be pretty decoupaged onto a book page, and you could even do multiple birds on the same page because you get about 4, right? Because there's 4 sides to a napkin, so you get 4 per napkin, and this one comes with 25. And then I also found these, which these would be great to cut out or to have a border. And I don't know, we need to open these because we've also got this ladybug going on. So I don't know if there's ladybugs up here and there's flowers up here. So I don't know. Let's open it up and see if the ladybug and the flower are on the same napkin. Or, oh, and this is not one that reseals. All right, well, let me find a seam. So how you been? I don't know what, I'm filming this on the 4th of July, right after the video I just did. I don't know if I'm going to air this on Saturday or Sunday, but I'm getting ready to go on vacation. So I wanted, okay, so it's on the same one. So I wanted to film some content because I don't know how much I'll be able to film while I'm gone. So that's cute. Now this one looks to be a single ply napkin. I'm not seeing, yeah. So this is a single ply napkin, but if you were gonna decoupage with napkins, you need to make sure to, some napkins are 2 and 3 ply, so just make sure you pull off those other layers if they exist, because you only want the topmost layer when you are doing your craft. Maybe none of the napkin bags are resealable, but I thought they were, but not this one. All right, and so just so you, some of you are like, when are you going to actually use these things you get? Well, I've shown you guys some stuff I've made with napkins on a previous video, but last night I was breaking down a book which happened to be a happy surprise. So I got this book at Savers for $3.99, and usually when I'm buying books like this, I do flip through them to make sure there are some pages that I would like, and this one had a good amount. This book is from, it even came with some freebie treasures in the book. This newspaper page from 1989. But this book is from 1985. So there's several pages in here that I haven't used all of them. I may still go back. You can see I took pages out of them. I may still go back and get these illustrations. But there's a lot of, okay, you guys, I don't even know what to say about, this is Color Harmonies and Art. I don't even know what to say about this picture. So yeah, I'm not salvaging this picture because it just looks a little weird to me. So I am kind of picky. You know, I do pick and choose when I take stuff out, but so there may be some headings that I still pull out of the book yet. I just didn't get that far. Even, you know, like headings like this, a place for flowers, that would be nice to kind of cut out, even though it's kind of on the small side. But yeah, I usually try, when I'm breaking down a book, I try to look to see if it's got any nice big words that I want to harvest or whatever, and pictures, of course. But what did I get out of that book? Well, for the pages that I really wasn't all that interested in, I made these pocket things. Now, I guess let's just make one here together. You guys, I don't know what my problem is, but I hate filming my hands. I hate not being able to see what I'm doing, because I can't see what I'm filming unless I stand up, and then my table's short, and so it's uncomfortable, and I have not successfully found I just haven't successfully found a good way to film my hands, even though it's probably super simple because people do it all the time. But I cannot cast my phone to my tablet or to my computer because it's stupid Apple. And I don't have a Mac computer. I think if I had a Mac computer, I could. But so I keep watching YouTube videos, and they tell you to download an app, and I do that, and I filmed, which I still haven't aired because it's also hard for me to get videos off of my phone onto my computer, even with the cord, you know, when I'm plugged in. And so here I am just complaining about lots of things that are really unimportant, but that's, I don't know, I just like this better, which isn't that great for crafting. But anyway, so you get, say you have a piece of paper, it doesn't matter what size it is, and I'm gonna have to do the folding off camera, but I'll do it one fold at a time. So we are gonna make these folders, and these, just in case we can't see, well, I have my, if you sign up for my mailing list, which is in the description below, you'll get a freebie upon signing of these vintage seed packets that I created a digital of. So you'll get the digital files. And so let's just use these. There's 8 of these just to show you. So there's a place here. And I like to put freebie things in, well, actually, here, let's start at the back. So there's a pocket all the way back here. But I like to put freebies for people that order things from my Etsy shop in one of these and send it to them with their order. Well, I'm starting to do that now. So there's a spot here. There's a spot here. And then for little things, you know, you could put over here. So there's 4 different spaces. So when you get your paper, you're going to fold it so that pretty much so that there's an even amount here from this edge to here as there is from this edge to here, which ends up, you know, looking like this, but you're really kind of folding it like this, but you're trying to make sure that it's an even amount in both places. You don't have to do it that way, but I feel like that makes the nicest, it's like standardizes it, and that makes it so you can use kind of any size paper, but for some reason, if you had a really long piece of paper, you could cut some off, but you'd cut it off so that you were kind of even. And then usually, so I've got my toolkit here that I would have with me while I'm doing this, and I've got one of my bone folders, and so I would use that to burnish or however you want to, whatever you want to say, you know, make it a super sharp flat edge. All right, so then after you have done that fold, then you're going to bring this side down so that it's the same distance. So see here, then we've got this, this, and this. So you're going to fold it again, keeping it even down here. And again, this is another thing that's super easy to do while you're watching TV with scrap paper so that you're not wasting. I'm gonna again use my bone folder. So then you've got this, and you could literally just leave it like this. You might have to, if you do that, you might need to glue this edge here to keep it like that, but you could easily make this a corner pocket, like on the inside of a book. Right, inside of a book, and then you could, so if you're making a journal, and then you would have tuck spots or a page in the book. But we're not done. We're not going to stop there. Now, sometimes I will say cut this. You don't have to, though. It will fold into your design, but I'm going to cut this piece. Can I do it? Can I do it like this? And this part's going to be hidden, so it doesn't have to really matter that much, but you're going to cut that part off, because that'll make it easier to fold it. So then you're just going to fold right there. Now, there are ways, some people when they do this, they somehow get it to where these 2 tips are in the center. And I just think that it depends on the size of paper you're working with. But as you can see, it works for, I mean, you can really do any kind of fold here, but this one I've just come to like this one. It's easy, it makes sense in my mind to make sure that all these little spaces are the same. And then you just tuck this piece inside here. You don't have to do any gluing. And it goes like that, and then you're done. Now, you could still ink, because it's kind of hard to see where the definition is of each of these spots, so you could ink your edges. And obviously some paper that you use, like this paper had a pretty big margin, but some pages or music paper is really good for this. You won't have that problem, but if you do, it's really easy to just ink the edges. And then this is what it looks like on the back. So you could glue this down, or maybe you just glue, you know, down here, here, and here, and then you have another tuck spot even behind that. So see, I do some crafting. I do use some of these things. So now we've got 5. And then the fun part will be stuffing it with little, you know, little pieces of ephemera. All right, but in addition to getting these out of that book, I've got some pages that I still need to figure out. Like this one, I think I'm gonna just make it into a Z fold. So I'm gonna cut it out and then Z fold it, and it'll just be a piece of ephemera like that. Same thing with this, make a little Z fold. And then this, I'm either gonna turn it into like this. The only problem is that half of it will be upside down, or I'm gonna cut it in half and just have a single fold, like a little book. So I haven't quite decided yet on that. And then I pulled this out to go, I collect, you know, map pages to put in kits, so this will go separate. Okay, so there were those, and then the rest of what I got out of that book is here. So I think this is going to end up making 2 kits that will go onto my Etsy shop. I might stretch it into 4 kits so that there's 2 of each kind. But let me just get this stuff out. And again, this is stuff that I just sit and do while I'm watching TV. And let me kind of stretch my leg out. It's starting to hurt from sitting. I had one leg bent. Okay, let me show you these first. So I've told you guys I prefer illustrations to pictures, but these pictures were not, you can see they're a little glossy too, but they were not terrible. So I cut them out with regular scissors so that they just had a little white border around. And sometimes I did have to choose like which image I liked better. Like in this case, that I lost the chance to use that picture because I liked this picture. But I got a ton of stuff. Plus this had little tables on what flowers are good for what months of the year. So I've also got, it was only, I think, March through September maybe. So I cut all of those out. So I plan to make 1 or 2 kits with all of these. And then I'm curious, for those of you that are crafters, do you prefer pictures or do you prefer illustrations? I think me, because I like vintage more, I just like illustrations better because I feel like they look older. But when botanicals are one of your favorite things, you end up with lots of sources that are pictures. But then there was a whole section of the book that was illustrated. So I cut out some of the months and I used my kind of deckled edge scissors. I got Michael's has a set of like 12 patterned scissors, so like it shows the pattern up here, and there's a lot of them I don't like, but they've got like, if you want to cut something out to look like a stamp or waves, you know, it's just those kind of scissors. Well, this one, I watched a video, I found somebody on YouTube that I like her videos, and she cuts out children's book images with scissors like this, but hers are from Stampin' Up. So then I looked through mine and I was like, well, this is close. So let me hold something up kind of behind it so that you can, I don't have anything that's like a, well, let's just try holding it up against this maybe. So just to kind of show you, it's supposed to look like a torn edge. So that's what I cut all of these illustrations out with. So anyway, I went through and I cut out if it was months or if it was flowers. So I cut those out, provided it didn't interfere with a picture that I was trying to cut out, because the picture always wins. But then you guys, look at that. So I cut them all out like this. I love this. So I love this book. I took a picture of it. I created a new album on my phone called Books I Like, and I put the picture of this in here. So if I ever see this book out again in the wild, I will know that I want it. So, but yeah, I just, and I could have, well, that's not a good example. I could have actually cut more around the image, but I decided in this case to just do all like rectangles. But these would be so great to, I mean, it's like book page on the back, but these would be great to, you know, put on some construction paper or scrapbook paper or vintage paper or something, so that you can write on the back, you know, if you put something plain and then you could write on the back of it. Or a digital, print off some digitals and glue this down to that. That would be nice. And actually, I might try to show you an example where I did that. But anyway, just look at that. I love these so much. So I think it ended up being about 39 pages. So I'll find another image in the book that I can cut out to make 40, so that I can sell 2 20-pack pages. And then they did have some of these sections here too. But yeah, so see, I do some crafting. Now granted, it's for the sole purpose of supplying my Etsy shop with fun deliverables. But I can't express enough how much I love this edging. So if you caught a video I did a few videos ago where I was showing some stuff from Savers and stuff, I got a Precious Moments book from somewhere, and so I've been using this scissor to cut out those Precious Moments images, and I just love it. But yeah, I've just got them in an old Temu packaging bag until I have to take pictures and do all that stuff to get it ready to list in my shop. But so yeah, so that's kind of what I do when I break down a book. And then I could, which would be really pretty, I'll probably cut this part out of the book, and maybe even I could make a bookmark or a tag out of this part, so that I'm not wasting, and there's one of those on the back too, so that I'm not wasting really any of it. And even if, sorry, even if I didn't like the outside of this, I could still use the inside. And whenever you've got old books, you always want to look in the backs to get yourself some plain vintage paper that you could then use on the back of these images. So it's kind of like zero waste crafting. So hopefully some of you can appreciate that kind of idea. I mean, that's, I think, part of what junk journaling is. It's trying to rescue things from the landfill. Now, I'm not a good example because you see, I buy too many things, but for those of you that don't have that problem and are crafters, hopefully I do throw some scraps away once I've, gotten what I can, like in here. I do have a box. I should get up now to get the couple of things. I do have a box where I keep scraps that are big enough to use a die punch for, so that I'm really, and I've got die punches that are probably go to that small, so I really try to have very little paper waste. But let me unplug here for just a second and see if I can find that. I'm hoping it's in my in progress shelf. If it's not, then I've just wasted a little bit of your time. And I should make it so that music plays while I step right over here. But I don't want to edit this video, so hang on just a second. As you talk to yourselves. Okay, I found it. Okay, so if you cut things out from books that you like, but they're kind of thin, or they have book page, book words on the other side, and you want people to have a writing space. I had another book that had illustrations in it, and so I have purchased a Blue Million printables over the years on Etsy, and my printable shop, I got to do a little commercial. My printable shop is on Ko-fi, K-O-F-I. The link is down below. But so I would print off pages of that I had bought from digital creators. You can see I've got like, this is one of my favorites, you guys, because I love the thin lines. But I tried to print off other things that were kind of botanical in nature. And, some of the, like, obviously this gives you lots of writing space, but people can still write on this too. But then they can be kind of like tags or journal spots or whatever. Well, now this one, I guess you can't really write on that, but then it's just pretty. So then I glued these book pages onto that, and then of course I inked the edges, which it kind of looks like I over inked the edges. And you can see I curved some of the edges so that they were rounded, which I think I like better than these square ones. But obviously you could do either one, and then it makes it sturdy. So yeah, so another example of, and I think it works really well with I guess they're all upside down. It works really well with these illustrated kind of images. And like this one, people like this kind of stuff too in the botanical world. So yeah, I love this book too. This book I think is in storage at the moment, so I need to find it and take a picture of it to add to my collection on my phone. So that's one of the easiest things you can do, is cut out a picture from a book, glue it onto some kind of cardstock, and shape it whatever shape you want, or punch a hole in it if you want to add a ribbon to it, that kind of thing. All right, so back to the haul. I did buy some, I don't think I have the box up here, but I did buy some gallon size Ziploc bags, because the Dollar Tree still has the gallon size bags that aren't made for standing. So there's still the old style, which is what I want for my kits, because they lay better. Because if you get the ones that have the stand, then they kind of sag in the middle and stuff. It's not good. So this is my bingo kit that I'm working on for my Labor Day sale. I have some more bingo cards to add to this still, and some more pieces. But that will be, if you're a crafter or you like that kind of thing, that will be something coming up in my sale. And then I'm hoping to launch, or I'm hoping to drop 100 items in my Etsy shop that weekend. And maybe I'll do some whatnot auctions too, because I still haven't done my diamond painting auction, and I might do a children's book auction. So I'm still trying to like plan out that whole weekend and what's gonna drop when and stuff, because 10% of the proceeds from all of my sales go to buy goats from Compassion International for families in need. So I'm motivated to make sales, not only for myself, but also to help give back in that way. And then I bought some quart size ones as well. I always try to buy the freezer ones. Well, that's what language is that? French? I don't know. I always try to buy the freezer size just instead of storage, just because they feel a little thicker. You don't get a lot in the box. This has 20, but that's another thing that has changed with the price increase, is a lot of these boxes don't have as many bags as they used to. And then I'm really excited about this, you guys. It's gonna sound dumb, but I got some colored index cards. Oh, well, first let me say, for Bible journaling or Bible note-taking in my Bible, I pick a certain color to do each year so that I can kind of look back and be like, oh, I learned all these things in this year. Now, granted, at some point the colors are going to repeat, but this year is the year of orange, which is not helpful for this, but a lot of these colors, you know, come in highlighters and stuff, and so you could coordinate if you're the kind of person that tapes notes into your Bible. These are great for that. But anyway, so I got this, which has 150, and then the white ones have 225. And then I also got the 4x6 size. Hang on. I usually sneeze like 7 times, so okay, I don't know what the deal was there. All right, so I got those. Now, why did I get these? I told you in the last video that some people make little notepads with these Monopoly cards. And you guys, they're the perfect size. So, and that way it gives people lined paper. Now, obviously Dollar Tree also sells the plain without the lines, but for a notepad, I would rather have the lines. But I got the colored one so I could kind of have, you know, a colored divider every so often. But isn't that great? And then you just use your little cinch machine and put a few, you know, I don't know how many that'll end up being, like maybe 3 rings up there. So that's why I bought those. And more napkins. Okay, these I think are the ones that I found in the party plate section. So that's really pretty. So I would probably kind of cut around the edges of this flower to get rid of this border where I can before I decoupage that on. And you get, in this one you get 25. And then I thought stripes could be kind of fun. And so you get 25 of that. Now, another thing I started, I got a big Life magazine anthology book that I showed on a previous video, and I have started cutting that up. And so I'm using this old Kleenex box, which eventually I will die cut into like the lace cards that, you know, you wrap your lace around, because these boxes are great for that, to give you kind of a pretty image. But anyway, I'm using it right now to put, so if you didn't see that video, this Life Anthology magazine I got is filled with miniature pictures of the Life magazine covers. And so I've already started cutting those out. I've also been cutting out the years when I can, which could later be cut into the individual numbers, or maybe I will just leave them like that. But then, and then if I find other little things, but then I've been cutting out the little cover images. Now, I wish there would have been a little bit more space between them so I could have used my stamp shape scissors, but there really wasn't enough space, so I've just been using regular scissors, but my goal was to treat them like stamps. But yeah, this book was like 1936 to 1986 maybe. So their first 50 years, and it's got all of the magazine covers. Now, some of them I chose to pick a bigger picture on the page, and so I don't get all of them once I'm done. But these would be great too, because they have the date of the magazine down at the bottom. So this will be another thing that when people customize and want a specific date, I can look through and see if I've got, and that's just, I don't know, I feel like a simple way to make things a little more personal. But then this was at the bottom of a picture. It was like a page talking about Marilyn Monroe, and she had, before she became famous, had posed nude for, I think, a calendar. And so this was the bottom part of the calendar. I, of course, left the top part. I scrapped it. But I liked this part. I thought that was cool. So I just love those anthology kind of books to kind of get stuff. And I have been cutting some bigger pictures out, but I didn't bring those over. But again, easy things to do while you're sitting and watching TV. I'm using these kind of scissors because they don't hurt when I cut, and it's just easy to do. All right, back to the Dollar Tree. Let me move this, because I think that's all we have left. You're like, ah, finally, just more Dollar Tree. I showed some of these on the last video, so here's another color combination of these new viral craft supplies. So they had quite a few of these. I don't know how many I ended up with altogether, different varieties, but quite a few. I thought these were really cute. Now, I saw someone online, they had bought, can't remember what size jump ring it was, but like for jewelry making, but it was maybe like this big, and they would print out, it didn't have to be a printout. I mean, it could have been from a book or a magazine or something, or a digital printout. And they would put this jump ring on places that they liked, and then they would put glossy accents over it. And then once it dried, they would cut it out, and then they had these cool charm kind of things. And perhaps you could push a pin through to actually make a hole that you could then string it on something. I don't know how hard glossy accents gets once it's fully dried, but it gave the look of like resin, but you literally, the glossy accents is like in a glue bottle that you just kind of swirl on there, and you might need a toothpick. I don't know if it's known for getting bubbles, I don't know, but it kind of reminds me of this, because like this one, because you'd have your jump ring and then whatever your image was down there, and they were so cool, you guys. So now, of course, I want to find, I could purchase some jump rings, but I want to find them in the wild in a thrift store or something. But I think that would be so cool and so easy. So easy. People are so talented. But anyway, I really liked these for some reason. I don't know, those, I'm not saying those are like the new viral things by any means, but and then birds, you know, birds and flowers are my favorite things. So I found this little set of clear stamps, because these are great to stamp on antique or vintage book page in black, or vintage photo or something like that, and just kind of add some prettiness. Or cut this out and give somebody a free stamp with their purchase. And then I don't remember seeing this before, and I wanted to get more, but for some reason I only picked up this one. But these little, oh, my Mother's Day present is falling. I don't know where else to put these, you guys. These were the things that my kids gave me for Mother's Day this year. And I just don't know where to put them. Including this flower, because Stargazer lilies are my favorite flower. So I just leave it there. But anyway, little strips of fabric. They had a couple different kinds, like I said, and I don't know why. I think I only got the one. Now, they used to have, what, the belly rolls in the plus section, but this is not in the plus section. That's funny. This no longer has the little price thing on it. They're getting smarter. They're like, let's not put a price on the package so that we can raise the price later. But yeah, so that looks cute. You could use that to, like, as a closure for a journal, or you could make, you know, cut it out and make tags or tickets or something. I saw where if you have plain fabric or like a tea towel, you can cut it up and tape it to a piece of paper, like with painter's tape, and then run it through your printer. And people are printing all kinds of things. And then I think you have to iron it to set the ink. I'm like, you can do everything now. All right, then we've got a, you guys, I'm not sure why I bought this one. I think I bought this one thinking this was part of the new viral stuff, but I don't think it is. But this is another crafting paper pad, and this is the same price as the viral ones, and you only get 16 sheets in this, and it's super thin paper, but I don't know, it was cute. It can go in a journal. I love owls, so I don't know. I just think this is not all that great, but whatever. I obviously bought it, but like I said, I think I found it before I came across these. Now these are the viral ones, and I don't know why. Oh, this one's not even, oh, this one never had the thing pulled off to make it sticky. Well, great. So I don't know if I got all the pages, but this is another one of the sets, and these are a thick cardstock. Look how vibrant they are, though. You get 2 of each design. There's a total of 12 different designs. If all of my thumbnails are just me holding paper, will anybody ever watch this channel again? I hope so. And then there's one more. So in my store, I found 3 different sets. I don't know how many there are altogether. If you know, leave me a comment. Yeah, I need to pull off the thing so it will stick. All right, and then the third one looks like this. So more botanical. So this one I'm assuming will be my favorite of the 3. I think I showed the first one on my last video, so if you are new to my channel, go back and watch that one, please. But here, this reminds me of Stampin' Up. Stampin' Up had had something very similar to this a few years back. And it's about the same. It is only one-sided, and it's got a white core, but it is the same kind of thickness as what you'd find in Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So yeah, I like I like those. So anyway, well, there's lots of things I said I could make with these, but you could also cut them into strips and end up, you know, doing something like this. I saw there is a guy on Instagram who does all of his artwork with cardboard boxes, food packaging cardboard boxes. So he's got a room filled with boxes of like Stouffer's and cereal boxes and, you know, any kind of food that comes in a box. He's got this room filled with these boxes of boxes, and I think he kind of has them color coordinated where he can, but then he creates this intricate artwork where he gets his X-Acto knife and cuts usually solid, you know, colors off of the boxes to then, you know, make his collage or artwork. But I'm like, it's amazing. And then he's got videos where he goes kind of dumpster diving to get more boxes. So talk about a practically free hobby, or I mean, he sells these, so maybe this is his job, but talk about the opposite of what I do, okay? Because like junk journaling is really supposed to be pretty free, aside from needing to get like a base for a journal, but really you're supposed to be able to just use your junk and stuff that you were going to throw away anyway. You're not supposed to be the kind of person like me that goes out and just buys more stuff. But as I've said, I like to curate and I like to flip things that I buy. So that's a different hobby. But yeah, I'm amazed at some of these crafty people I'm finding. And there's lots of people that love to do collage. There's one guy his background is like magazines and National Geographic magazines, and he would be like, you know, it's a new day, time to craft or something like that, and he'll pull out a few pages and he'll intricately cut around like a person, and then he ends up making this really cool design out of these kind of things that you can get for so cheap. And it's like, oh, these people are brilliant. Okay, here's the third one of these that I got to put the beads in. So now that I've shown them all to you guys, I can get them organized. And I picked up some safety pins in order to make the friendship pins. Although this one has got multiple sizes. Is it just 2 sizes or is it 3 sizes? Let me take this off real quick so we can see. These were in my store up by the checkout counter, or at the checkout counter. Okay. Can we just cut it? Can we cut off our finger? Yes, we can cut off our finger, but let's not. I'm starting to get hungry. I haven't eaten since the 4th of July meal on Wednesday, the 3rd. So I need to find something. There's probably leftovers, actually. Okay, so there's 3 different sizes. So this is probably the size I will end up using for those. But you can, okay, so you can, well, I don't know. I might need these big ones, but there's not very many of the big ones. Hold on, let me get this closed. Okay. So I feel like Hi, so if I were a better editor, this would have been a seamless transition, but it's not, because I'm not an editor and I didn't want to have to edit this anyway. And it's because my iPad ran out of storage. So I had to go delete some stuff, and who knows if it's even gonna let me piece these 2 together. I may not have enough space for that. But anyway, I was talking about these, And I think this was the size that we used to put on our shoe, because we'd put them on our shoelaces, but maybe not. Maybe it really was these bigger ones, because once you add the beads in, you needed to, you know, have some space. But I feel like I still need to get a few more beads, because the beads that I got so far from the Dollar Tree are very, it's like pink and green, and I need, the whole point of these for me is to have a variety of seed beads on here. But you can't just put them on this side, because then they'll fall off when you take it off. So you have to get some kind of pliers to separate these two down here, so that you can then, you know, loop the beads through so that they're on this side, and then you pinch it back closed. And then, yeah, then you just, well, I don't know where people use them now, but I kind of want to put some on my tennis shoes, you guys, and bring that back. So many things are coming back into fashion from the 80s. Why not this? I even saw somebody on the news who had hair, bangs went up super high, and I was like, well, I don't have bangs now, because that's the area of my hair that's falling out. But how fun would that be to bring back the 80s bangs? So yeah, okay. Well, since I don't know how much more time I'm gonna have, I did get 2 of those, and that was it for the Dollar Tree haul. So I want to thank everybody for watching this video, and I'm not sure when my next video will be, because I'm not sure, I'm having trouble getting what I filmed on my phone uploaded to YouTube, and so I just don't know. I've got like 3 or 4 videos that hopefully I'll get them out there sometime. But we're getting ready to go on vacation. We're leaving, well, let's not, well, okay, don't come steal stuff from my home while we're gone. It's like you're never supposed to tell people that you will not be home. But we are going to be enjoying Seaverville and Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. So if there's restaurants that you're familiar with in that area, or if you know of a really good antique mall, put that in the comments below. But let's do our nostalgic TV trivia before we get stopped again. And yeah, let's go. All right. Who is the owner of the soda fountain on Sesame Street? Who starred as Walter Andrews on The Tycoon? The saying, "Here come da judge," was prominent on what comedy show? Who was the host of the Mickey Mouse Club? What is Pinky Lee's real name? Name the game show on which then Governor Jimmy Carter appeared in 1973. Who portrayed Owen Marshall and Jess Brandon on Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law? Who portrayed Owen Marshall and Jess Brandon? Oh, so was he like playing twins? What is Joyce's pet name for Farillo on Hill Street Blues? Okay. Who was the owner of the soda fountain on Sesame Street? Mr. Hooper had a store. Did he also have a soda fountain in that store? That's my guess. Who starred as Walter Andrews on The Tycoon? Frank. I crack myself up. I don't think I crack anybody else up, but I crack myself up, and that's all that matters. The saying, "Here come the judge," was prominent on what comedy show? The Red Skelton Show. That's a total guess. Who was the host of the Mickey Mouse Club? Mickey Mouse? Annette Funicello? I don't know. What is Pinky Lee's real name? Is Pinky Lee a girl or a boy? Because I want to say Frank. Frankie? Name the game show on which then Governor Jimmy Carter appeared in 1973. Okay, so what's that show? To Tell the Truth could be an option, but wouldn't people have known who he was? And that really is supposed to be for people that you don't know. It's kind of obscure. So I don't think I'd say that. It could be something like Pyramid or Family Feud, but I want to say the Newlywed Game. Like, but he wouldn't have been a newlywed in 73, so that's probably not a good answer. Hollywood Squares? I'm just now naming game shows. But 1973, what about the one where you have to pick behind the door and people in the crowd wear the costumes? I don't know, you guys. So I want to say the Newlywed Game, like him and his wife be on there, because they did have a really good relationship, but they wouldn't have been newlyweds, so I don't know. Who portrayed Owen Marshall and Jess Brandon on Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law? Frank. See, now it's not funny. It probably was never funny, but now it's not. What is Joyce's pet name for Farillo on Hill Street Blues? I didn't watch that show. Does it have to be something that would be like Fur Baby? I don't know. I don't have a guess for that either. This card's not been very good. So who was the owner of the soda fountain on Sesame Street? It is Mr. Hooper. Okay. Who starred as Walter Andrews on The Tycoon? Walter Brennan. The saying, "Here come to judge," was prominent on what comedy show? Laugh-In. Hey, everybody might have got that right. Who, because she had an aunt on that show, right? Or a cousin or an aunt? I think it was an aunt. I don't know. Who was the host of the Mickey Mouse Club? Jimmy Dodd. What is Pinky Lee's real name? Pincus Leff. Okay. Name the game show on which then Governor Jimmy Carter appeared in 1973. What's My Line? What was that show about? Was that like it, To Tell the Truth? What's My Line? I don't know. I guess I need to look one of those up. Who portrayed Owen Marshall and Jess Brandon on Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law? Oh, it was wanting both people. It wasn't saying that one person played both of them. All right, it was Arthur Hill and Lee Majors. Lee Majors before he went and did Fall Guy. Wait. And after the $6 Million Man, was it like in between those two? Why did I think of Fall Guy first? I don't know. Okay. What is Joyce's pet name for Farillo on Hill Street Blues? Pizza Man. Okay, this card stunk big time. I only got one right. I hope you did better. Let me know in the comments. And thank you to everybody that watches my channel and supports my channel in all the different ways that you can support it, whether it's subscribing, becoming a member, buying from my Etsy shop, buying from my coffee shop, downloading a freebie from my coffee shop. The link for all that stuff is down below. Or if you just watch and comment, that's awesome too. I really appreciate it. You guys are like family, and I told you I don't have any friends, so sometimes reading your comments is like the only, that's so sad, the only kind of friendly comments I get during the day. So thank you so much. You're a big part of my mental health plan, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you're having a great day. And until we meet again, take care of yourself. Bye.